Just imagine this scene. The MLB calendar shows less than 10 days left before the trade deadline. Brian Cashman's phone is hotter than Bronx asphalt in July, and Yankees fans, as always, are torn between panic and hope. The team desperately needs a starting pitcher and someone to hold down third base, but so far, silence. Nothing. Just speculation, leaks, and that typical, nerve-wracking wait that turns July into a cardiac stress test for any Yankees fan. Will a move come? And if it does, will it be enough to turn the tide? Today, we're going to talk about a name that might not be flashy, doesn't grace magazine covers, and probably doesn't show up in YouTube highlight reels, but is catching the eye of everyone watching the trade market with a technical lens. A name that left Texas through the back door, arrived in Chicago under the radar, and now, ironically, is one of the most coveted pieces on the mid-season market. Yes, we're talking about Adrian Houser, and you're about to understand why he might be exactly what the Yankees need at this critical, decisive, and potentially season-defining moment. Believe me, if you love the adrenaline of the deadline, unlikely trades, bold bets, and analysis with an emotional edge, make yourself comfortable. This video is for you. And it won't be without controversy, because what's at stake here goes far beyond a simple roster addition. It's about the identity of the 2025 Yankees. It's about courage, market intelligence, and above all, urgency. Let's get right to the point. The Yankees have two glaring holes on the roster that can no longer be ignored, brushed aside, or kicked down the road. One is on the mound, the starting rotation. The other is at third base, which has become practically a no-man's land in recent months. But today, we're focusing on the mound, because that's where the biggest collapse risk lies. With Carlos Rodon going through ups and downs, Garrett Cole still regaining his best form after injury, Marcus Stroman dealing with soreness and inconsistency, and the rest of the rotation relying on names like Cam Shittler and Will Warren, the red alert has already gone off in New York. Are they young guys with potential? No doubt. But trusting a playoff run, and possibly a World Series, to two rookies with less than 20 combined MLB games is a risk no team with real ambition should take. And what's curious is that the Yankees aren't in total crisis. They're still in the race, still dreaming big. But right now, they're looking at the standings and seeing the Toronto Blue Jays creeping up like an annoying shadow, threatening to overtake them. That means if the front office doesn't act fast, the team runs a real risk of falling to the wild card. And you know what that means, anything can happen in a one-game playoff. One mistake, a bad swing, a tired bullpen, and goodbye season. And it's precisely in this moment of strategic vulnerability that a name emerges, one that, just a few months ago, wouldn't have made anyone's wish list, Adrian Houser. But now, everything's changed. Houser was released by the Rangers in May after a rough start and uninspiring outings. Then the White Sox, stuck in a disastrous season, decided to give him a shot. A low-cost gamble. A token thrown onto the roulette table, hoping for an unlikely number. And the unlikely happened. In 10 starts for Chicago, Adrian Houser pitched 62 innings with a 1.89 ERA. That's right, nearly 2 months of absolute dominance on the mound. And more, only 2 home runs allowed during that stretch. For a 32-year-old right-hander many had written off, that kind of performance is almost unbelievable. So much so that scouts across the league raised their eyebrows and started asking, is this for real? Is it sustainable? ESPN picked up on it. Journalist Buster Olney mentioned Houser as a near lock to be traded, describing him as a real market option. And even if no one expects him to repeat that line against powerhouses like the Orioles, Astros, or Rangers, what's clear is this: he's in great shape, confident, in rhythm, and in control, and that's gold in July. Now comes the part where the pieces start to align. Because for the Yankees, the situation is clear as day. They desperately need a reliable right-handed arm. With Stroman out, Cole still ramping up, and Rodon inconsistent, they're missing that middle-tier guy. He doesn't have to be the ace. But he needs to be someone who goes out there, gives you 6 innings, doesn't give up 4 runs, and lets the bullpen breathe. Someone who can pitch against Tampa Bay or Seattle in a tight game and keep the score at 3-2 through the 7th. And maybe you're asking, why Houser? Why not go after a bigger name? A Logan Gilbert? A Mitch Keller? A Jesus Luzardo? Because the Yankees have already made it clear they won't give up their top prospects. Jason Dominguez, Spencer Jones, Roderick Arias, those names are off limits. And for the bigger names, that's the price. But with Houser, the cost is different. The White Sox, deep in rebuild mode, are open to packages involving mid-tier prospects or current roster players under team control. Cam Shittler, for example, is a name that naturally comes up. A young arm who earned time out of necessity, but who might thrive in Chicago with more patience and less pressure. Add in a prospect like Chase Hampton or Bryce Selvage, interesting names, but not elite farm talent, and you've got a deal taking shape. 2 players for a hot, experienced, affordable starter. All for a minor league deal expiring at the end of 2025. Here's where the story takes on emotional weight. Shittler is one of those players who earned fans' respect through grit, hustle, and improvisation. Watching him go might hurt. But it's that old truth, to take the next step, you have to let go of some present comforts for something bigger. And that goes for the player, too. In Chicago, he might find a healthier path. Less spotlight. More room to grow. Tactically, Houser fits the Yankees almost surgically. Right-hander. Veteran. Zone control profile. Not prone to giving up homers. High ground ball rate, a valuable trait with an infield that, even with flaws, has strong defensive names. And more, he's not a strikeout machine, but his style aligns with efficiency and pitch economy. The kind of guy you plug in as your third or fourth starter, and who could be the difference maker in October. And there's precedent for this kind of move. Every year, there's that guy who arrives quietly in a low-profile deal and ends up a playoff hero. That's baseball. Not everyone needs to be a star. Sometimes all a team needs is a quiet pillar. And Houser could be that guy. He's been to the bottom. He was cut. People doubted him. And now he's pitching with anger. With focus. With something to prove. If the trade happens, the Yankees take a step up. With Houser in the rotation, the front office can shift focus to third base. Look at names like Jeimer Candelario, Isaac Paredes, or Eugenio Suarez. All without sacrificing the future. And in 2025, that's almost an art, reinforcing the present without destroying tomorrow. The community is already buzzing. On forums, social media, and beat writer chats, Houser's name is popping up as a serious target. The atmosphere is tense. Like something's about to go down. And if the Yankees don't act soon, the Dodgers, Giants, or Phillies could swoop in and get him. Because this is the kind of move that changes a season, but only for those who strike first. So let's recap. Adrian Houser is a starter in top form, with a cheap contract, perfect tactical fit, and can be acquired without giving up the Yankees' crown jewels, bringing exactly what the rotation lacks right now, consistency. For the White Sox, it's a smart trade for pieces that fit their rebuild. And for the players involved, like Schitler or Ben Rice, it could mean a career opportunity. In other words, everyone wins. The question now is, will the Yankees have the guts to make the move? Will they resist the urge to wait for something bigger? Or will they recognize that sometimes the best move is the obvious one? And now I turn it over to you. Yankees fans, what would you do? Would you bet on Houser now before another team jumps in? Would you give up two players, even if one has won your heart this year? Or would you rather hold out for a bigger name, even if it costs you Dominguez or Spencer Jones? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think. And if you liked this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because deadline week is just getting started, and we're bringing everything, behind the scenes, rumors, confirmed trades, and those unlikely stories that make MLB the ultimate drama. And as always, I leave you with this, in baseball, it's not always about stars. Sometimes, the one who changes everything, is the guy no one saw coming. See you in the next video. Until then.